It's not the seagulls you've got to be wary of at Whitby, it's the goths. Hi there and welcome to the Yorkshire coast. Today I've come to the seaside to shoot some seascapes and do some long exposure photography. I'm currently at Robin Hood's Bay. Lovely sunny start to the day. It's a low tide, so it's revealing the rocks and the rock pools here, which will make some good views. Later on I'll be moving up the coast to Whitby, where I'm hoping that the cloud's going to build up a bit later on as the tide comes in, so I can have some movement in the water and in the clouds above, which is ideal for long exposures. But right now I'm going to crack on and see what views I can get down here, see how I get on. So I found this little spot here that I'm quite happy with, despite the sun being still low in the sky, still early morning here. It's quite harsh and contrasty, so it's proven a little bit difficult to find compositions here. You need to find enough rock where there's not too much dark seaweed on it and just enough interest, otherwise it makes it too complicated a scene. So I found this nice little view here with the rock in the foreground and some of the puddle and ripples in the sands, making a really nice composition. Even though it's got a clear blue sky up there, there is some light cloud shifted in here, so I've been able to put the polarizer on and really make the most of that, especially as we're shooting at a 90-degree angle to the sun. So that's polarizing really nicely, and that's really making the shot, adding some impact just by adding a polarizer and really making the most of this composition I've got here. So I'm using the Canon 24mm shift lens, and what I'm doing, I'm actually focusing on the rocks or the cliff in the background there, and then using the tilt function to bring this foreground rock into nice sharp focus as well, and still using only f8 aperture, which is optimum for this lens. So if you can see on the LCD screen here, I've switched on to live view and I've got the magnification on 10 times. I've got my focus point on the rock in the background there, and I'm just going to bring that into sharp focus, and I'll bring the focusing point down and I use this rock at the bottom right of the frame. And we can see that's out of focus at the moment, but I'm just going to bring that by tilting down slightly and see that rock now coming into nice sharp focus. And I'll lock that off. Come off magnification. So it's only just a couple of degrees, 1.5 to 2 degrees on the shift lens, but that's made sure I've got front to back sharpness across this entire view, which is ideal. As well as the big wide views, I love exploring all the rock pools and around the stones here at low tide, looking for little abstract patterns that can be formed with all the rocks that are around. There's little stones and little bits of seaweed, all make little intricate patterns, lovely shapes and colours all around here. You can really crop in tight and make lovely little abstract patterns of those, really nice. glad of warmy wellies down to the beach this morning because I'm slowly getting cut off by the incoming tide. So good advice there. If you're coming to the beach, wear wellies, you never know. Better get off here if I get totally marooned. So I've come up the coast a bit further now, up to Sand's End. I've come to do some long exposure photography. I've got the camera set up here, just a very simple composition, using the groins leading into the water, and they're going to be my main focus point. So the camera's set up in the vertical position, everything's switched to manual, so it's in manual exposure mode, or bulb mode, so I can time the exposure. It's manually focused, and also the white balance is in manual setting as well. I've got the Lee 10-stop filter in place and also a 2-stop ND grad just to hold back the detail in the sky. I've already done my initial test shot and worked out the exposure, and for this situation it's going to be a 2-minute exposure. So with everything set up, it's just a case of pressing the button and waiting. So I've arrived in Whitby now, home of Dracula and possibly the best fish and chips in the world. Coming to do another long exposure, this time of the East Pier. Conditions not ideal, it's high tide now, certainly a breeze. I hope you can hear me over this wind noise. But unfortunately the sun is out, the cloud hasn't come over as much as I was hoping, so there's still a lot of blue sky, but there's movement in the cloud at least. So I've set up here, so I'm gonna see just what I can get. Well, the harbour is certainly looking pretty wonderful at the moment. The sun's out again, so I think I'm going to abandon the long exposures and just walk around the harbour and just see what colourful shots I can find around here. Certainly plenty to see. I could never resist a nice colourful beach hut, and there's a great selection along the front here at Whitby. Every primary colour you want. Look great with the sun's just come out now. Pop on a polarizer and really boost these colours. Going to look really good. So this will be my final shot of the day, looking across the harbour at Whitby to the Abbey on the other side. Nice panoramic view. So I've got the camera all set up nicely here. Everything's all levelled below the tripod's head, so it pans around nicely. Obviously the camera's in the vertical format, ready for stitching, and that's all levelled off as well. I've got the nodal slider in place again, so the lens rotates around the centre of the tripod again, which makes it easier for stitching when put it into software. So everything's nicely set up. The sun should be setting off to my right soon. So it's going to be a really nice light across there to the Abbey, so it's going to be a nice final shot for me. That's it from me at Whitby. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm off to get some fish and chips.